Good morning, dear members. I, Rajnikant, CS ONGC, have great pleasure in welcoming you all for this 28th annual general meeting of the company being held through video conferencing and other audio-visual mode. I'll request to play the ONGC song.
हमें है उजाला अंधियारा मिटाने का, हमें है हौसला नई उमंग बनाने का, हमें है एक जोश हर मंजिल पाने का, हमें है एक जज्बा हर जिंदगी सजाने का, हमें है जोश हर मंजिल को पाने का, हमें है
हम है वो रोशनी जो बनाए आपका भविष्य और उज्जवल। हम हैं ONGC।
Dear members, considering the challenges and the risks posed by COVID-19 pandemic and in line with the directives issued by MCA and SEBI, the meeting is convened without the physical presence of the members at the common venue. Since there is no physical attendance of the members, there is no requirement for appointment of proxy. The proceedings of this AGM shall be deemed to have been conducted at the registered office of the company. In line with the said directives, soft copies of the 28th AGM notice and annual report have been sent through mail to all members whose email IDs were registered with the depositories, National Securities Depositories Limited, NSDL, Central Depository Services Limited, CDSL, and with the company's registrar and share transfer agent, Alankit Assignments Limited. Those members who have not provided their email IDs may access the notice and annual report at the websites of the company, stock exchanges, NSE and BSE, and NSDL, the e-voting agency. Deputy Company Secretary has informed that 85 members are participating and have logged in for the meeting at 10:58 a.m. Accordingly, I request the Chairman and Managing Director of the company, Shri Subhash Kumar, to chair the meeting. Over to Chairman, sir, please.
Thank you. Good morning, esteemed members. I have great pleasure in welcoming you all to 28th General Meeting. कंपनी की 28वीं जनरल मीटिंग में आप सबका स्वागत. Since the company secretary informed that 85 members are present at this virtual meeting, I call the meeting to order. Dear members, before proceeding with the business of the meeting, I would like to introduce my colleagues on the board present at the meeting. To my right is Madam Alka Mittal. She is Director HR. To my immediate left is Mr. Rajnikant. He is Company Secretary. My board colleague, Mr. Rajesh Kumar Shrivastava, Director Exploration, is sitting next to him. And at extreme left is Mr. Pankaj Kumar, Director Offshore. To my colleague, Mr. O.P. Singh, is sitting next to Madam Alka Mittal, and Shri Amitabh Bhattacharya ji, Independent Director, is sitting to the extreme right. Our Shri Rajesh Agarwal, Government Nominee, has not been able to attend the meeting due to some official preoccupation, and same is case with our colleague, Mr. Anurag Sharma, who is also not able to attend this meeting because of his preoccupation and being busy in some other meeting. Shri Amarnath, Government Nominee, is attending this meeting through audio visuals from Guwahati. Representatives of statutory auditors are participating in the meeting. Secretarial Auditor is also participating in the meeting. Let me also introduce Shri Noas Kindo, Under Secretary, Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, the representative of Government of India, the promoter of your company. The Register of Directors and key managerial persons and Register of Contracts and Arrangements have been made available for online inspection at investors page of the company's website. Members seeking inspection of registers were requested to send an email to Secretariat at the mail secretariat@ongc.co.in. Since the meeting is conducted through virtual mode, I request the company secretary to explain the procedure for participation in the meeting.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. Dear members, the facility for joining this meeting through video conference or other audio-visual means is made available for the members. The company has also provided a webcast facility to view the live proceedings of this meeting. The company has received requests from members as speakers at the meeting. Accordingly, the floor will be open for those members to ask questions or express their views. I will facilitate this session once the chairman opens the floor for questions and answers. Procedure for members participating through video conferencing is explained hereunder. All members who have joined this meeting are by default placed on mute mode by the moderator to avoid disturbance arising from background noise and to ensure smooth and seamless conduct of the meeting. Once the question and answer session starts, the name of the speaker shareholder who have registered their name will be announced one by one by the moderator. Moderator will then unmute the audio of the speaker shareholder. The speaker member will ensure that the audio and video are switched on in their system before proceeding with his views. If for any reason the member is not able to join through video, he may ask questions or speak through audio mode. If there is any technical problem in the connectivity with any registered speaker, we would keep trying to get connected, and in the meantime, the next speaker would be invited to join. We request the speaker to use these earphones for better voice clarity, control the background noise of phone, air conditions, fan, TV, and other such appliances. Close the doors and window of the room to avoid atmospheric disturbances. Ensure sufficient Wi-Fi bandwidth for your gadget. Ensure that you are logged on with single device. No additional mobile or laptop or desktop should be connected. And also ensure that there is a proper lighting for better quality of video. Now I request the chairman, sir, to commence with the proceedings of the meeting.
Dear members, the notice of annual general meeting and the annual report have been with you since 30th of August. With your permission, I take them read. However, I request the company secretary to read qualifications, observations, comments or other remarks, if any, regarding auditor's report on financial statements of the company for the financial year ended 31st March 2021, reports on the Controller and Auditor General of India, and Secretarial Audit Report issued by the practicing company secretary.
Thank you, sir. The report of the statutory auditors, the Secretarial Auditor, and the Comptroller and Auditor General of India form part of the annual report 2020-21, which is already available with the members. However, I would read out observation, comments, if any, and the management response thereon as brought out in the reports. The independent auditor's report on the standalone financial statements and consolidated financial statements are published on page 240 to 257 and 416 to 431 of the annual report respectively. The auditors have given unmodified report on both the financial statements. The report is signed by the representatives of GM Kapadia and Company, R. Gopal and Associates, SARC and Associates, Kalani and Company, RGN Price and Company, and Bhandari and Company, joint statutory auditors of the company on 24 June 2021. Messrs. Asu Gupta and Company, the secretarial auditor of the company, have submitted their report dated 3rd August 2021, which is on page 132 to 135 of the annual report. The report states that during the period under review, the company has complied with the provisions of the Companies Act, rules, regulations, guidelines, and various standards as applicable to the company except for the following. Board composition and evaluation. During the audit period, there were non-compliances with the requirement of Regulation 17, 1A and B of SEBI LODR, Regulation 2015, Section 149 of the Companies Act 2013, and Para 3.1.4 of Department of Public Enterprises Guidelines on Corporate Governance 2010. As the company did not have requisite number of independent directors on its board, including no independent women director during the period from 8 September 2020 to 31st March 2021. Further, in terms of Regulation 17, Clause 10 and 25, 3 and 4 of SEBI LODR, Regulations 2015, performance evaluation of independent directors by the board and review of performance of non-independent directors, the chairperson and the board of directors as a whole by the independent directors were not carried out. Further, as required, the meeting of independent directors was not convened. Audit Committee and Nomination and Remuneration Committee. The composition of Audit Committee and the Nomination and Remuneration Committee was not in compliance of Regulation 18 and 19 of SEBI LODR, Regulation 2015, with effect from 8 September 2020. In the absence of valid quorum, no meeting of the audit meeting was convened after 31st August 2020. Consequently, mandatory functions of Audit Committee, such as review of quarterly results, annual financial statements, and approval of related party transaction, etc., were directly reviewed and approved by the board. The response of the company to the observations of the secretarial auditor is provided on page 89 of the annual report, wherein it is clarified that the company, being a government company under the administrative control of Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, the selection, appointment of directors, including independent directors and women director, is the prerogative of the Government of India, as per the Articles Association of the company. The Ministry of Corporate Affairs wide notifications dated 5th June 2015 and 5th July 2017 exempted government companies from the provisions relating to appointment, performance evaluation, and remuneration of directors under the Companies Act 2013. The company has requested to the Department of Public Enterprises to arrange similar exemptions under SEBI LODR Regulations 2015 in line with the Companies Act 2013. There being only one independent director on the board since 8 September 2020, Audit Committee and Nomination and Remuneration Committee were not constituted for want of minimum 2 independent directors. Agenda items pertaining to these committees were directly considered at the board meeting. The Office of Comptroller and Auditor General of India had carried out supplementary audit of standalone as well as consolidated financial statements of the company. The CNDG in its report provided on page 129 and 130 of the annual report have given nil comments on both the financial statements of the company. Thank you. Over to the chairman with a request to address the members.
Thank you, Company Secretary. Now I proceed with my speech as chairman on the occasion of 28th annual general meeting of your esteemed organization. Dear shareholders, Priya Share Dharko, on behalf of the Board of Directors of your company, Oil and Natural Gas Corporation Limited, I welcome you all to its 28th annual general meeting. The year that has gone by was very challenging for the entire world. We in India also witnessed the debilitating impact of COVID-19 pandemic that devastated lives and livelihoods, causing the scale of suffering that has few parallels in the human history. My heart goes out to everyone who has suffered loss of their loved ones. I salute the tireless efforts and incredible courage of the countless frontline workers and warriors fighting COVID-19 pandemic with dedication and selfless service. It has been a trying time for your company as well. Notwithstanding the significant historical and logistical challenges and the threat of the deadly viral infection, the employees of your company ensured the much-needed oil and gas production for the country, sacrificing their personal well-being and defying the threat of the contagious disease. Despite providing the best medical and logistic support and facilities and ensuring safety of our employees, we had to endure tragic loss of lives within our own ranks. I pay my deepest tributes to the brave energy soldiers whom we have lost in this tragic period. Going beyond the business, we undertook various relief measures for the society through distribution of food, ration kits, PPE kits, oxygen cylinders, etc. Your company was called upon to play a stellar role in the vaccination drive and procuring oxygen concentrators for the whole country. Your company, through the hand-holding and support extended to domestic manufacturers, not only secured the supply of needed concentrators as mandated, but also helped create domestic production capability to manufacture these indigenously to fight COVID-19 scourge that is still around us and could continue to appear and reappear before it finally subsides. Given the preventive measures, including the massive vaccination drive undertaken by the government, we are confident that we will overcome this crisis soon. Before sharing the operational performance and achievements of your company, let me dwell a bit on the economy and industrial outlook. In the wake of COVID-19 outbreak, global oil demand plummeted to a record low level. Much of the losses have, however, already been recouped, from the low of 78.5 million barrels of oil per day in April 2020 to 94.7 million barrels of oil per day in April 2021. Demand is expected to cross the pre-pandemic levels in 2022, according to IEA. Impact of the pandemic on oil prices was also very swift and steep. At its worst, Brent crude had nosedived to under $20 per barrel, while WTI marker had traded in the negative, which is a first of its kind phenomena. Prices have recovered now on the back of rising demand and coordinated production cutbacks by OPEC Plus group led by Saudi Arabia and Russia. Again, negative prices for most sought after energy resources are an unprecedented event that defy the conventional logic. The global economy contracted by an estimated 3.3% in year 2020 as per International Monetary Fund and World Economic Outlook of April 2021. The degrowth may have been sharper had it not been for the swift disbursement of substantial stimulus packages, primarily in the large advanced economies, as well as development of vaccines in a record-setting pace. Looking ahead, IMF projects the global economy to grow at 6% in 2021 and subsequently moderate to 4.4% in year 2022. But more than anything else, the materiality of the outcome will depend on the efficacy of the vaccines in limiting the future spread and virulence of the virus and post-pandemic dynamics of the global trade and sovereign relationships. Gas too suffered a demand contraction for about 2%, that's around 75 BCM in the year 2020, as per again IEA estimates. Most of the decline in gas consumption was observed in mature markets across Europe, Eurasia, North America, and Asia. While the first half of 2020 was marked by a drop in spot Northeast Asia LNG prices on the back of export cuts, which was in response to weak market conditions, the second half was a story of runaway pickup in prices, which followed well into 2021, owing to demand recovery in the key markets such as China, cold winter, and sustained supply and shipping disruptions. Last year, global upstream investments sank to a 15-year low at US $350 billion as operators focused primarily on conserving cash flows and protecting their balance sheets by cutting their expenditures. While investments are expected to increase by 3 to 4% this year, it would still be around 30% lower than the pre-pandemic levels. These developments, besides confirming the fabled, fickle-natured unpredictability of oil prices, are also pointers towards the fact that oil and gas, being vital sources of energy, are starved of much-needed capital. The after effects of the same could be radical and painful. India is world's third largest energy consumer after China and USA. The country's energy mix is highly dependent on fossil fuels, which cater to over 90% of the domestic energy needs. All industry outlooks expect India's energy demand to at least double by year 2050, with strong growth expected in natural gas in all the scenarios. Considering the continued relevance of oil and gas in the global as well as domestic energy outlook, ONGC's contributions are vital for boosting supply security in a country that has very high degree of import dependence. ONGC is mindful of its supreme responsibilities in this regard. ONGC, as the premier E&P NOC, shall continue to pursue exploration programs to maximize its reserve base and endeavor to produce more and more oil and gas for energy security of the country, though with greater focus on ESG parameters. ONGC is fully geared to transition towards becoming a responsible energy company. Backed by the intensive exploration program, accretion of in-place volumes and EUR, which is estimated ultimate reserves in 2P category from ONGC-operated areas in India, has been 92.37 MMTOE and 50.31 million metric tons of oil equivalent, respectively. Reserve replacement ratio, that is for 2P EUR from domestic fields, was at 1.19 with respect to 2P reserves, as I said. With this, the company has maintained reserve replacement ratio of more than 1 for the 15th consecutive year. We established commercial oil in Bengal Basin, which was dedicated to the nation as 8th producing basin of India. This has resulted in the upgradation of Bengal Basin to a Category 1 basin. 10 new discoveries were made and we monetized 12 discoveries, of which 2 were from the financial year 2021 itself. 480 wells were drilled during the year. 100 of these were exploratory wells, while the rest 380 were development and sidetrack wells. ONGC acquired 5% equity stake in Indian Gas Exchange Limited, IGX, as a strategic investment. ONGC Energy Center has taken up the first geothermal energy pilot project in Ladakh, wherein it has been planned to drill geothermal wells and establish 1 megawatt power plant at Puga, Ladakh to start with. ONGC undertook a massive exercise which was codenamed Operation Nishtha for crew change over in offshore and onshore operations and ensured uninterrupted operations during the countrywide lockdown. Despite the challenges posed by pandemic, your company's standalone production during the year was 42.4 million metric tons of oil and oil equivalent gas. Crude oil production, including joint venture production, was 22.5 million metric tons, and natural gas production, including JB production, was at 22.82 billion cubic meter. Production of value-added products was at 3.12 million metric ton. During the financial year 2021, three major projects, that is one of which was development project and two were infrastructure projects, with an investment of around 3,300 crore rupees were completed. Looking forward, over the next few years, the domestic production is expected to be driven by strong output from our Krishna Godavari deep water field in eastern offshore, as well as Hira in shallow waters of western offshore. During the year 2021, one major project, that is redevelopment of Nandasan field in Mehsana asset, was approved at a cost of rupees 445 crore during the current financial year. Redevelopment of Lynch field at Mehsana asset has been approved. With this, 16 major projects above 100 crore rupees are presently under implementation, with a total project cost of around 61,000 crores rupees, with envisaged oil and gas gain in excess of 100 million metric ton of oil and oil equivalent. We have also started gas production from second deep water U1B well in KG 98/2 blocks cluster 2 on 31st of August 2021. Despite 2021 being a year of disruptions and suboptimal prices, your company returned profit in each of the individual quarters of the previous fiscal. Our gross revenue stood at rupees 68,141 crore, and we registered a net profit of rupees 11,246 crore, despite incurring losses in our gas business for the fourth successive year. ONGC's total dividend payout would be of rupees 4,529 crore at 3.60 rupees per share, with payout ratio of little above 40%. We also continue to maintain stable capex program, and we maintained the same for financial year 2021 at rupees 26,859 crore. As regards overseas operations, your company's overseas operations are carried out through its wholly owned subsidiary, ONGC Videsh Limited, which in turn conducts its operations under various assets, JVs, either directly or through its subsidiaries. Production from overseas assets during the financial year 21 was at 13.039 mmtoe oil production, was out of which oil production was 8.51 MMT. This was 12.8% less as compared to the production in FY20, and gas production was at 4.53 BCM, which was 13.3% lower compared to financial year 20. The lower production is mainly because projects in Russia, UAE and Azerbaijan have been impacted by the compliance to production cuts agreed upon by the host governments of OPEC Plus group of countries. Geopolitical situation affected two projects in Venezuela, namely San Cristobal and Carabobo 1. Gross consolidated revenue of ONGC Videsh for the financial year 21 was at rupees 11,956 crore against rupees 15,498 crore during the previous fiscal, and ONGC Videsh group profit after tax was rupees 1,891 crore during this FY21 as against rupees 454 crore during the previous fiscal. The increase in profit is mainly on account of lower impairments reported as exceptional items and lower tax expense. As regards value chain integration, performance across the value chain for ONGC Group entities has been impressive during the year. HPCL registered a throughput of 16.42 million metric ton with a capacity utilization of more than 100% in spite of overall demand contraction in the country. It also added 2,158 new retail outlets, which is highest ever in any particular year, totaling retail outlets to 18,634. HPCL also commissioned 112 new LPG distributorships during the financial year 21, taking the number of total distributorships to 6,192 as of 31st of March 2021. During the financial year 21, HPCL achieved its highest ever net profit of rupees 10,664 crore on the back of improved refinery margins helped by inventory gains and robust operational performance. Thus, HPCL has made a forceful entry into an exclusive club of companies with a 5-digit PAT performance in a single year. HPCL has drawn up detailed plans for future expansions, some key projects being Vizag Refinery Modernization, Greenfield Refinery, Petchem Complex in Rajasthan, and LNG regas terminal at Chhara, Gujarat. MRP also did well despite the year-long turmoil in global export markets due to pandemic. Its throughput for the year was 11.50 MMT and its standalone turnover was rupees 51,019 crore rupees. MRPL is focusing on setting up and expediting own retail outlets. It has also partnered with OMCs to increase sale of products in the country, thereby offsetting its reliance on foreign markets to an extent. MRPL, after having acquired 49% of ONGC's stake in OMPL, has assumed its full ownership during the year, thereby establishing synergistic value addition across the product chain. Requisite steps for consummating merger of OMPL with MRPL have been set in motion. In the Petchem vertical, OPAL is performing very well with around 90% capacity utilization during the financial year 2021. Revenue from operations stood at rupees 11,486 crore, and despite global slowdown in the Petchem markets caused by pandemic, it's heartening to share that OPAL has posted positive PAT in the last two quarters, that is Q4 of FY21 and first quarter of fiscal year 22. OTPC, our power venture in the country's northeast region, is meeting about 35% of total power requirements of northeastern states and has recorded a total income of rupees 1,646 crore while netting a profit after tax of rupees 221 crore in FY21. Last year, when the pandemic ravaged the whole world, including our country, your company, in addition to providing those vital volumes of oil and gas that supported the domestic economic recovery efforts, also doubled down on its CSR efforts, focusing largely on healthcare. Specific to COVID-19, your company contributed a sum of rupees 300 crore to PM Care funds and undertook CSR projects worth almost rupees 30 crore, thereby benefiting over 44 lakh people across the country during the financial year 2021. During the current fiscal, that is FY22, as the country was in grip of debilitating second wave, ONGC was assigned the responsibility to support the communities to tide over the oxygen crisis. ONGC is setting up 15 medical-grade oxygen generation plants at various parts of the country to strengthen medical oxygen infrastructure. ONGC is also procuring and providing cold chain logistics equipment for COVID-19 vaccination to several states through ONGC Foundation. ONGC is also procuring 1 lakh oxygen concentrators on behalf of Government of India, encouraging a large number of domestic vendors and boosting local manufacturing capability. As regards awards and recognitions, your company has received several awards and recognitions during this period. ONGC was ranked 11th among global energy majors in coveted Platts Top 250 Global Energy Company Rankings 2020. Forbes has ranked your company as 13th largest among Indian companies in Global 2000 list. ONGC ranked 4th in India in 2021 ranking of Fortune Global 500 list. ONGC is also ranked 377th in Forbes list of world's best employers. ONGC also bagged the Best Project Management Company Award 2020 of the Federation of Indian Petroleum Industries. ONGC has been conferred with the Golden Peacock of National Quality Award 2020. Honorable President of India presented Rashtriya Khel Protsahan Puraskar to ONGC in the category Encouragement to Sports through Corporate Social Responsibility. As a matter of pleasure to share with you, Dr. Alka Mittal, Director HR of your company and our colleague on the board, was conferred with Woman of the Year Silver Stevie Award for her outstanding achievements in this area. Your company is committed to conduct business in a legal, ethical and transparent manner and observes highest standards of corporate governance. Accordingly, your company has been continuously rated excellent for its compliances with the DP guidelines on corporate governance. I, on behalf of the Board of Directors of your company, would like to acknowledge the critical role of the government, especially our administrative ministry, the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, and Directorate General of Hydrocarbons for providing necessary impetus in advancing the interests and supporting the growth of your company in domestic as well as international arena. We also acknowledge the cooperation extended by various ministries, departments, statutory agencies of central government as well as state governments, auditors, various supporting authorities within the country as well as overseas where we have business interests. I would like to place on record our appreciation for our joint venture partners and our vendors for their continued cooperation and collaboration. Being a national oil company, ONGC has a definitive responsibility in not just augmenting the country's energy security through higher indigenous production, but also advancing the technological and technical capability of the sector through innovative and path-breaking works. Concurrently, we also have a responsibility to create a world that is sustainable, equitable, and meaningful. Let me reassure you that notwithstanding the uncertainty of external environment, we are confident that our business will continue to grow and achieve new milestones while making headway in newer opportunities with sustainability as its core value. We value our relationship deeply and believe it will continue to be a mutually rewarding for the years to come. Before I conclude, let me also place on record my heartfelt appreciation for all ONGC employees who took on a great responsibility with courage and commitment to ensure energy supplies for the country in the wake of COVID-19. Their display of commitment and grit makes me confident of a brighter future for ONGC. I hope all of you take good care of yourself and stay safe as collectively we put together the building blocks of a new energy era for the country. Thank you. Jai Hind. Now I request Company Secretary to brief the business items as placed in the notice for consideration and approval of the members, and also brief the e-voting process.
Thank you, sir. Dear members, as per the notice of the AGM, there are 5 business items in total, 4 ordinary business items and 1 special business item, which was sent to you as an addendum to the notice on 15 September 2021. Ordinary business items are as under. Item number 1, consideration and adoption of audited financial statements, including consolidated financial statements of the company for the financial year ended 31st March 2021, along with other related documents. Item number 2, to declare the final dividend of rupees 1 and paisa 85 per equity share for the financial year 2020-21. This is in addition to the interim dividend of rupees 1 and 75 paisa per equity share declared and paid in February 2021. Item number 3 is reappointment of Dr. Alka Mittal, Director HR, who retires by rotation and being eligible offers herself for reappointment. Item number 4, authorizing the Board of Directors to fix the remuneration of the statutory auditors for the financial year 2021-22. Special business item, item number 5, appointment of Shri Pankaj Kumar as Director. Let me share the brief introduction of Shri Pankaj Kumar, Director Offshore. Shri Pankaj Kumar has taken over charge of Director Offshore of the company on 4 September 2021. Shri Kumar is a thorough oil and gas industry professional with more than 34 years of experience across ONGC's business functions, varying from operation management of offshore and onshore fields, well engineering, joint venture management, corporate strategic management, and asset management. He holds a bachelor's degree in chemical engineering from University of Roorkee, now IIT Roorkee, and master's degree in process engineering from IIT Delhi. Dear members, I also wish to inform that in line with the provisions of the Companies Act, the company had provided remote e-voting facility to the members for casting their votes on these resolutions as proposed in the notice, as well as addendum thereto. Such remote e-voting was made available to the members from 9 a.m. on 21st September 2021 till 5 p.m. on 23rd September 2021. In addition, facility for e-voting at this meeting is also provided for members present at this virtual meeting who have not voted through remote e-voting. Members may please go to the voting page of NSDL e-voting website and cast their vote as per the instructions provided in the notice within 15 minutes after the meeting is declared as closed by the chairman. Please note that those members who have already cast their vote through remote e-voting are not entitled to cast their vote again. Shri MC Jain, practicing company secretary, has been appointed as the scrutinizer for ensuring fair and transparent e-voting process. Now I request the chairman to declare opening of e-voting for members attending the meeting. Thank you.
I declare to open the e-voting and also request the members to cast their vote.
Thank you, sir. Members may also raise query, if any, on the annual report, including the annual accounts 2020-21. Please raise your queries specific to the business items of the meeting and as brief as possible to enable more members to participate. You are requested to take not more than 2 minutes of time for raising your queries or conveying suggestions to accommodate all speaker members. Members may note that this meeting is recorded. Please do not disclose any sensitive personal information or personally identifiable information belonging to you or any other person that has no bearing in this meeting. All issues relating to your shareholding may be taken up directly with the registrar and share transfer agent of the company by marking copies to the company secretariat and settled accordingly. Let us make use of this opportunity for discussing the business items. Deputy Company Secretary may please proceed to invite the registered speaker one by one. We will listen to all the speakers and respond to the queries at the end. Please connect to speaker number 1.
Mr. Vikas Agrawal from GAIL India Limited. Please connect to Mr. Vikas. Mr.
Hello,
Vikas,
sir.
you are unmuted.
Sir, I am audible, sir.
Yes.
Sir, respected chairman and directors of ONGC, representative of Government of India, the largest shareholder of ONGC, and fellow shareholders. At the outset, I convey the greetings to all of you on behalf of Shri Manos Jain, CMD GAIL. Respected chairman, sir, GAIL, as one of the largest shareholders of ONGC, appreciates the progress made by ONGC under your dynamic leadership and for achieving a robust performance during financial year 2021. In spite of COVID-19 pandemic, ONGC registered a net profit of rupees 11,246 crores, drilled 480 exploratory wells, 100 development and sidetrack wells as well, and dedicated Bengal Basin to the nation. With this, ONGC has discovered 7 out of 8 producing basins of the country. And besides this, wholeheartedly contributing towards COVID-19 related relief works for the nation as well. I thanks ONGC for their COVID-19 relief across the country. GAIL's management conveys its support to all the business items and resolution as proposed in the notice of this meeting. After considering and taking into account the services by ONGC, country's leading oil and natural gas exploration company in the interest of progress and development of our nation. At every sphere of business, world over stands impacted due to COVID-19 pandemic. Our nation is no exception at all. And every one of us is also forced to face numerous challenges due to COVID-19 in business as well as personal level. COVID-19 has led to adoption of new technological initiatives for continuing the business, such as use of video conferencing for interaction with the various stakeholders. And as a result of which today, we are able to successfully join this meeting once again virtually. GAIL firmly believes that visionary ONGC management will keep on putting all efforts and keep no stone unturned in moving forward and achieving all its targets and delivering the result as per expectation of all the shareholders, including GAIL, and fulfilling the energy needs of the nation. Chairman, sir, GAIL also appreciates the effort of all those involved in organizing this meeting through video conferencing, particularly Sri Rajnikant Jain ji, Company Secretary, Sri Sasi ji, Deputy Company Secretary, and his team. Sir, on behalf of GAIL and our CMD Sri Manos Jain Sahab and functional directors, I convey our best wishes to ONGC as well as all its stakeholders. Namaskar, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you.
Please connect to speaker number 2.
Next speaker is Madam H.S. Patel. Ma'am, you are unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you are audible, ma'am.
प्लीज मार जाएंगे जना Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
I'm sorry to keep you holding. Respected Chairman, um, Mr. Shivam.
Your voice is not coming clear.
Am I not audible?
Yes, now it's okay.
I would first like to salute the lady, our Madam Alka Mittal. She is the first woman functional director of ONGC. And she is a special invitee to UN Global Network Governing Council. One day I wish that the madam becomes the chairman of this ONGC government organization. I wish to see that one day. Then we have our Mr. Tangaonkar, the Director of Finance, and our Rajnikant sir, the Company Secretary. I am very much grateful to Mr. Sakshi Bhushan and Sandeep Pandya, who had been very helpful in solving many problems and helping me in the annual report. I would first like to congratulate everyone that even during the pandemic time, all the employees have been very alert and very agile and very on duty to give, though because of pandemic and the results are not so good, but yet the work was going on. I congratulate, it is good to note that you have contributed to PM Care Fund around 300 crores. So here I would just draw attention of Director Finance that please let the dominations be in lakhs and crores. If it is in millions, we are getting a little complicated. I also congratulate the company for 3,300 KL high-speed diesel given to Indian Navy. You have acquired 5% equity in Indian Gas Exchange Limited, and you have developed an MOU has been entered with Leh Ladakh to develop the geothermal energy project. It is good to note, and I congratulate the employees of the ONGC for the discovery and dedication of Bengal Basin to our nation on 20 December 20. The company has been awarded with various awards: the Great Place to Work, Excellence Corporate Governance, Leader in CSR spending. Your CSR activities has been very good. You have you have donated around 330 crores plus 99 crores. So I would just a little humble question. Swarkdev Hospital at Sivasagar, through the Reach India Trust Agency. Where is this hospital located? Because it is just mentioned as Sivasagar. The name of the place is not mentioned. So if you can just throw some light on it. So I find from your annual report that the number of employees every year, as mentioned in your annual report, is decreasing. That is from 32 in 2017, 18, then it became 30, then it came to 29, and then 2021 it is only 28. If you can throw some light on it, I would be very grateful. So on page 40, you mentioned that royalty expense is mentioned. So whom is this royalty expense paid to? What is our average cost of borrowing? If you can throw some light on it. The benefits or the sign energy the company has derived on HPCL takeover. Could you please throw some light on it? What steps is the management taking to reduce the debt, which is quite visible from the finances of the company? So your foreign exchange earnings is mentioned as 23,093, but expenditure is almost 2,18,512. Last year the expenditure was still less. This year the expenditure has increased all the more. So if our earnings are less than the expenditure, what benefits are we getting from this foreign business? Please let me know about it. I request you. The profits, the revenues and the sales are very low this time. Of course, it is definitely partly due to the pandemic. EPS also has come down, while borrowings has gone up from 140, it has come to 150. What could be the reasons? It is good to note that your depreciation and amortization impairment has come down. But definitely the borrowings have gone up.
Ma'am, may I kindly request to wrap up your question, please?
Certainly, sir. I am on the way. Rajnikant sir, as I hear your voice, your voice was very clear and very loud, bold voice. But you also look quite handsome in the photograph among the other people. And so, humble request, Mr. Rajnikant sir, that we are also shareholders. If not every time, at least once in a year, we would like to also hear your voice. We are very few speakers, maybe hardly 20 or 25. And if in the whole year round, if once we can know our company secretary's name, that there was a change in the name, there was a change in the person from previous company secretary to the current one, even your other assistants, your department people, at least they should also at least get in touch with us, not just 2 days or 1 day in advance of the AGM. Please. I would like to request one thing, sir. India's retail price for petrol and diesel, especially for petrol, it is very high. Maybe it is highest in the world, I feel. Even though there is a global decline in the price of crude price. Why is it so? Is it because the government is facing too much of outstanding? That's why the excise duty is heavily levied by the government on petrol and diesel. That's why the prices are increasing. Of course, they say the production is less, but every year the production was very good. Yet our prices, it is absolutely very, very bad for a city like Bombay, Delhi, and Calcutta. For the people, petrol ka bhav akash pe ja raha hai. How the common people will do it? And if not luxury, car is a luxury, but at least scooter, two-wheelers, it is essential for even working class people. And the petrol price touching the sky, it is impossible for the common people to use it. What is the use of ONGC? What is the use of HP, BP when they are not telling the government to control the price? If government is government is coming out with high oil bonds, because of the oil bonds, it is throwing pressure on the petrol price, and it is the consumers, it is the common people who have to pay price for this. The political parties sitting at Delhi or in the various government states, they are not bothered. Please do something for this. I request custom duty, excise duty, VAT, then exchange rate between the dollars and the rupees. When the price is touching the sky, very little chance for the government to cut the prices of petrol. Is there? There should be a midway between the two. They're not heavy burden on the consumer and not penalizing the government revenue. So, as a senior person sitting on this very big, greatest company of our India, what course of action do you
Ma'am, may
suggest?
please conclude.
Yeah, please. What course of action do you suggest to the government as the head of this large government sector undertaking? And gentlemen, please, Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's company, there the shareholders start the meeting right from 9 o'clock. They end the meeting at 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock at night. Very patient hearing is given to every shareholder. Just 2 minutes and 1 minute is not enough to read the whole annual report of 300 and 400 pages. Please, and it is even a gold medalist or an IIT genius, IIM genius will not be able to read and speak about it in 2 minutes. Only introduction with the directors will consume that much minute. If one company starts with the fashion of having 2 minutes to the shareholders, every company will follow. Why is SEBI and MCA not taking action, supporting the shareholders for this? It is once in a whole year that we are getting chance to read this book. Even a brightest student, gold medalist, will not be able to concise the annual report. And you are telling us to speak in 2 minutes? Why are other shareholders not objecting to this? Not only here, not only in ONGC, in every company, it has become a fashion among the secretariat and among this OAVC people to do it. You are getting enough money from the company to do this business. Allow us sufficient time to speak. We are not saying we want 10, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, but give us sufficient time for the speakers. Just praiseworthy and just false praises is not enough. Anyway, sir, we have full confidence in the board with the very eminent directors sitting on the board, and Malka, Madam, people from north, south, east, and west are north, south, and east are taken in this government organization. Why not people from the west are taken? There are highly literate, highly technical people even in the west. I don't see many people from the west being taken, apart from only our Mr. Tadgaonkar. Maybe he's from the west. I don't know. Take people even from the west. Let go. Even in the management side, both sides, there are very few people who are taken from the west. Even from highly technical people. Why are they not coming in the board of government organization? Why they are not coming on the management board? We are also a citizen of India, and we have dedicated too much for the good of the country. So I wind up. I thank you very much for giving me a chance through this OAVC, and the practice of OAVC should be followed. I request SEBI and the MCA to see that the practice of OAVC is followed. Only then we will be able to, speakers from every nook and corner of the country, maybe around the world, will be able to speak at the time of AGM conducted in our country. This OAVC practice should be retained and followed even if the pandemic subsides, and even if we back again to the office to work from home ends and we go back to the office to work. But the chance of the speaker speaking through OAVC should be maintained. This practice should be maintained. That's my humble request. I thank you very much and wish everybody good luck and all the very best.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Thank
Especially
you.
the workers who have worked in the COVID times, who have come even in the crucial COVID times and had rains, in floods and in heavy sunlight. They have come and worked in the company. We are grateful to you. The production is not stopped because of them, and we should consider it them for. It is good that the workers of the board members and the management team have and the employees have dedicated 2 days salary to the COVID people. But it is necessary for us to consider this low-level category people for the good salary increment. Something, if not bonus, at least some increment should be given to them. They have come in the COVID time to work hard and continue the production. Hope I wish ONGC all the very best, and my country also all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I call upon the next speaker, Mr. Tamal Kumar Majumdar. Sir, you are unmuted. Mr. Majumdar. Mr. Tamal Kumar Majumdar.
Maybe can move to the next and then come back.
Moving to the next speaker, Mr. Rajendra Prasad Tulsian. Mr. R.P. Tulsian. There is some technical issue, sir. We are connecting to the next shareholders. Just 2 minutes. Mr. Tamal Kumar Majumdar.
Okay, sir. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Good noon, Mr. Kumar, Mr. Agarwal, Mr. Nath, Mr. Bhattacharya, and other directors of the company, myself, Tamal Kumar Majumdar, an equity shareholder from Kolkata. And thank you, Mr. Chairman, for sharing your passionate thoughts with us. My special thanks to Mr. Rajnikant and his team, and also to Mr. Sasi Bhushan, Deputy Company Secretary, for contacting and helped me to join today's meeting. Sir, I have gone through the 723 pages annual report and Q1 result of financial result, Q1 22 results. And I also believe that 2 minutes is not at all a time for the shareholders too. It is only 1 day shareholders to get this, so they should be allowed to share their views, open their heart before you. It is not that shareholders don't do their homework. I have gone through the entire 723 pages of the annual report. And for your information, Mr. Rajnikant at the Hindustan Petroleum AGM, he took more than 3 minutes as a speaker. So he took more than as a speaker. So I hope I am concentrating totally on the annual report, and I hope there will be no disturbances. I am not going to take 15 minutes, 20 minutes like that, simply on accounts. And sir, as per page 293 of the annual report, ONGC is holding 133.72 crore equity shares of ₹10 each of Indian Oil Corporation, valued at 12,282 crores under investment in other entities, which comes to 14.2% of equity of Indian Oil. And again, if you look at page 194, it is noted that Indian Oil is holding 98.68 crores equity shares, equivalent to 7.84% of ONGC paid up equity. Why both PSUs, Indian Oil and ONGC, hold each other's share? Is it as per government direction? Or what is the government policy in respect of such investments? And sir, three government companies, LIC, Indian Oil and GAIL, jointly hold 21.6% of the paid up equity of the company of ONGC as of 31st March 2021. Whether all these three will be treated as joint promoters of ONGC along with Government of India's direct holding of 60.41%. Please share your thoughts in this regard. Whether government nominee on the board of ONGC clarify their position also. Sir, it is really a shocking news that out of sanctioned limit of 9 independent directors, including one independent woman director, the company has only one independent director as on date, which violates listing regulations. At least 2 independent directors are required for constitution of valid quorum for the audit committee meetings. So as a result, there was no audit committee meeting from 8/9/2020. And as a result, board of directors directly reviewed and approved the account since then. Statutory auditor also mentioned the matter as well as the secretarial auditor. A statutory auditor mentioned it under emphasis of matter. The ministry appointed director of offshore on 4/9/2021, but have no time to appoint independent directors even after lapse of 1 year from the date of its violation. Due to its PSU status, no stock exchanges reacted to this violation, nor SEBI, anybody reacted to this violation and remained a mute spectator. Would you please share your thoughts in this respect, disclosing the current position regarding the continuous violation of the same by our company and its subsidiary level? You may have noticed HPCL also same thing is happening. So what is the trend? Parent is violating, its subsidiary is violating, everybody is violating. So I want a straight reply from you, Mr. Kumar, in this regard. And sir, as per pages 253 to 254, against total disputed tax claim of 45,914 crores, the company made under protest payment of 35,479 crores as on 31st March 2021. Out of it, against disputed income tax of rupees 28,760 crores, the company paid under protest of rupees 28,367 crores or 98.60% of the claim, keeping only 393 crores unpaid. So company paid 98.60% of the income tax claim by the income tax authority under protest. Why don't the company like Indian Oil Corporation, instead of pursuing all disputed income tax related cases, settles claim for the assessment years 2002 to 2003 onwards under Vivit Vishwas scheme, earlier announced by our Honorable Finance Minister, in order to be treated as a good corporate citizen? Why they are not doing? Indian Oil did that. And whether the company made any general provision in respect of disputed tax claims, at least up to the payment made under protest as on date. Your view, please, sir, in this regard. Sir, ONGC is incurring losses in its gas business. You also mentioned in your opening remarks for the last 4 years. Sir, it took 5% stake in Indian Gas Exchanges Limited, investing 3.69 crores. It is in page 293. In addition to formation of a wholly owned subsidiary for gas and LNG business, supply to gas to power companies, power business, etc. What is its present status? What is the present status of the subsidiary? And our proposed investment in it. Whether our investment is in gas exchanges and proposed investment in subsidiary will help us in booking profit from gas business in the near future. Please share your thoughts. Sir, it is noted from page 374 that the offshore CGU booked net impairment reversal of 2,260 crores. And offshore CGU booked and onshore CGU booked net impairment reversal of 2,260 crores. And offshore CGU booked further impairment of 885 crores during the year. What is the current status during financial Q1 of financial year 22? and your expectation for the remaining part of the year regarding further impairment reversal, whether company may go for further impairment reversal, and what is the present status of claim of Directorate General of Hydrocarbons amounting to 12,063 crores as regards Panna, Mukta and Tapti fields. On what basis the company believes that no provision is required? There must be some provision. You also admit that there must be some liabilities in this regard. There may not be 12,000 crores, but there must be, something will be there. And sir, what is the present status of Panna Mukta fields transferred to the company on nomination basis by the Ministry of Petroleum with effect from 12 December 2019? And sir, during financial year 21, company's hydrocarbon production decreased to 45.35 million metric tons of oil equivalent or MMTOE from 48.35 MMTOE. Taking into account the current scenario, do you believe domestic hydrocarbon production projection during 2024 in excess of 60 MMTOE will be achievable? And sir, oil and gas production of ONGC Videsh during financial year 21 was 13.04 MMTOE, despite output cuts in its projects in UAE, Russia and Azerbaijan as a part of the OPEC group. What about the output cuts in those projects during the current year? Whether that still is continuing, that output cut still continuing, and in expectation of oil and gas production during financial year 22 from this company. And sir, page 307 showed a huge write back of impairment of financial assets, others, to the tune of 668 crores. Last year it was only 7 crores. What is the reason for such increase? Nearly 100 times increase in the reversal. And sir, we have a pre-reserve balance of 1,87,778 crores as on 31st March 2021, consisting of general reserve of 1,86,859 crores and retained earning balance of 919 crores. It is in page 262. If we divide it with the number of shares, then it comes to 149.27 per equity share of rupees 5 each. The company's equity share at BSE during 52-week reached a low price of 64.15 and high price of 138.35. Last buyback of shares completed on 22nd February 2019 at a price of 159 per equity share. With the free reserve of 149.27 per equity share of rupees 5 each, whether we may expect a buyback of shares at least a special dividend in the near future. And sir, only two last questions. What is the PLF of 727 megawatt combined cycle and gas turbine thermal power plant during financial year 21 under ONGC Tripura Power Company Limited? And sir, as regards your capex is mentioned, you mentioned it will be 29,800 crores during the financial year 20. Would you share some details in this regard? Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for giving me the opportunity to complete my note. Thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker is Mr. Rajendra Prasad Tulsian. Mr. Tulsian, you are unmuted. Mr. Tulsian, please accept the request for unmuting. Mr. Tulsian is not able to be connected. Moving to the next speaker, Mr. Shivam Bajaj. Sir, you are unmuted.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity, and especially Kapilji and Shashi sir, who contacted me regularly for this communication. Respected Chairman sir, this young shareholder is connected from Delhi. I wish to say some suggestions and have some questions. First of all, I can see that since HPCL is our subsidiary, I wish my company could also provide some HPCL shares to ONGC shareholders. It would also be a nice gesture from the company. Also, my question is, what is the situation of the oil bonds, and are there any oil bonds outstanding with the company? And also, sir, in the future, with the regular cash reserve, can we have enough cash remaining for acquiring companies like Suzlon Energy? And also, when is the company planning to give a bonus? Because that is important also. I think last bonus was 2016, and I am sure the shareholders would wait for a bonus again. And these were my some questions and suggestions. My best wishes, and at last, congratulations for the company for the awards, and thank you so much. My best wishes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is Mr. Sarad Kumar Jivraj Shah. Mr. Sarad Kumar Jivraj Shah is not available. Moving to next speaker, Mr. Damodar Prasad Gupta. Sir, you are unmuted.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Hello, good morning, respected Chairman, sir, and other directors of the company. Namaskar. Myself, Damodar Prasad Gupta, and my folio number is 120-206-0000-566-337, sir. Sir, I thank you for the opportunity given me to speak. I would also like to compliment you for the standards of governance you have set in your organization. And your speech was really enlightening, and you are enriching the people energy needs of the country. That is really great. And your efforts during the pandemic are really commendable. Sir, I have a small query. On page 55 of the annual report, it is stated that 5% equity in the Indian Gas Exchange, or IGX. It is also stated that the said acquisition it will be enabled to achieve the share of the natural gas from 6% to 15%. Sir. I would like you to please throw some light on this and enlighten us, sir. Thank you, sir. And I would like to compliment your secretary team also. For you have a really dedicated team at ONGC. They are very careful about the shareholders of the company, and they are very quick to resolve the queries of the shareholders. Thank you very much. I support all the resolutions I have already voted. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is Mr. Asit Kumar Pathak. Sir, you are unmuted.
I'm audible, sir.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Am I audible? Yes. 1 minute. Very good afternoon. At first, my best wishes for good health, happiness, and prosperity, respected Chairman, Government Nominee, Board of Directors, Company Secretary, fellow members joining 28th AGM of ONGC Limited. My name is Asit Kumar Pathak from Damodar. Thanks to Company Secretary Mr. Rajnikant sending me the notice of AGM and annual report very well in advance and allowed me to speak. Also, thanks to Deputy Company Secretary Mr. Shashi Bhushan Singh for rendering enhanced cooperation to members. Sir, this is my humble request. Next year, you please send the hard copy every speaker, because very veteran speakers cannot able to read 400 more pages. This is my humble request from my side. And before I start, I have homage and condolence to those ONGCians who lost their lives due to fatal lapses of sea cyclone Tauketi, ONGC's barge P305 strategy. And I also pandemic COVID-19. And may God place their soul in the place of heaven. I think my company also bestow 1 minute silence about this strategy. And a great place of work, excellent 3,000 million contribution PM Cares Fund, and ONGCians contributed 300 million from their salary. This is excellent. And 4 ONGCians received Arjun and Dhanchand Award. This is best performance from my company sides in all activities. Financial performance, not so optimistic than financial year 20. Debt equity ratio same, and EPS also 8.94 than 10.7. Also production since segmented came down than previous year due to pandemic. No doubt. And also dividend 3.60 per share for rewarding shareholders. Nicely achieved. Reserve replacement ratio more than 1 for 15 consecutive years. Excellent achievement. I'm also rewarding the management teams for this. Also, my previous speaker also mentioned, I also throw my something. My company formed up plans to create a new whole subsidiary for company gas and LNG business value chain. In financial year 22, already my company set up a subsidiary in this segment. If possible, for some highlights. Present status of nature of award of 7 successful bidders in 13 contract areas, comprising 49 marginal oil and gas fields with collaboration private players for tech partnership for enhanced and augmented production. If possible, social highlights present status. And my company acquired 50% stake in IGX. This acquisition will contribute the government of India vision to increase share of natural gas 6% to 15%. But sir, it mentioned the gas business lost for the 4 successive years and suboptimal energy prices. So throw some highlights of gas vertical business prospecting with this acquisition. My previous speaker also mentioned about this, and presents production capacity of new 8 production basin Ashoknagar. If possible, and present attrition rate as on 31st March 21, 28,479 ONGCians mentioned. And also it mentioned, sir, 18,922 equity share of 10 each equity and 37,904 equity share 5 each, which was for partly paid and also for featured. And amount is 15.15 million. Had made a rigid correspondence after the forfeiture of shares, and what positive step taken MRPL, because not good performance, and also strategy taken for who potential subsidiaries to equity rise, and also positive step taken who is not performer, because we have 4 direct subsidiaries and 9 associated joint ventures. And damage incurred due to natural calamity, Tauketi accident. Is throw some highlights, and throw some highlight about long-term blueprint 2040, because in annual report it mentioned, and government any future plan to dilute stake from ONGC, because government already 10% dilute stake in HCL, and buyback plan to reward members. My previous speaker also mentioned about this, and maybe rewarded with NCD bonus to members, just like NTVC rewarded with members. And trade receivable also 65,894.62 million due to oil and gas marketing company. And present status of this, and present status of arbitration with GAIL. If possible, for some highlights. In budget financial year 22, government take any measures with enhance, for some highlights, because government budget session financial year 22, declare gas and Petrol and NG pipelines in Jammu and Kashmir, monetization of oil and gas company, and hydrogen generation plant projects. My company taken this opportunity, I think, because mentioned capex program financial year 22 298,000 millions, and also share price is nice 137.80, market capitalization 1.742 crores, P ratio 7.488, beta is more than 1, that is 0.1, good nice parameter. Also book value 160.80. I am congratulating management teams for this achievement. Also request to be a debt-free company, because various positive initiatives taken in respect of exploration and target 10 gigawatts renewable capacity in 2040, very achievable projection measured in this balance sheet. So my request, members only taking two things, only capital market association and good dividend. So my management team also is in progression in this achievable lineup, and praying to God good health to everybody associated to ONGC Limited. Thanking you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Sir, now Mr. Rajendra Prasad Tulsian is back with us. Mr. Rajendra Prasad Tulsian, please.
हाँ जी, नमस्ते चेयरमैन साहब, मेरी आवाज आ रही है आपको?
या बिल्कुल आ रही है। नमस्कार।
सबसे पहले बहुत बधाई, आपने कोरोना के पूरे पेंडेमिक में भी प्रोडक्शन को रोका नहीं, बहुत बहुत बधाई आपको। और इस कंपनी का जिसका डबल डिजिट में रेट चलता था, ट्रिपल डिजिट में रेट हो गया है। मैं समझता हूं इससे बढ़िया परफॉर्मेंस कोई हो नहीं सकती। आप बधाई के पात्र हैं। पेंडेमिक के दौरान आपने कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस को ऊंचे झंडे बना के रखा, हमको एनुअल रिपोर्ट मिली, सीनियर सिटीजन जैसों को आप समझते चेयरमैन साहब मुझे कनेक्ट होने में कितनी आसानी क्यों हुई? क्योंकि ओएनजीसी का पूरा स्टाफ मुझे हेल्प कर रहा था, तब मैं आपसे कनेक्ट हो पाया हूं। और आप मुझे देख रहे होंगे, अगर मैं उस पर आ रहा हूं तो मैं अभी हॉस्पिटल से बोल रहा हूं, मैं हॉस्पिटल में हूं। लेकिन मुझे ये अच्छा लगता था कि काश मैं कनेक्ट हो पाता आपसे, और ये आपके ओएनजीसी स्टाफ के गवर्नेंस की वजह से मैं आपसे कनेक्ट हो पा रहा हूं। आई एम इन द हॉस्पिटल एट प्रेजेंट, और परफॉर्मेंस बहुत प्यारी है आपकी। दो तीन बातें मुझे कहनी थी, मैं फिगर्स में आपको नहीं उलझाऊंगा, तो फिगर्स आपने बहुत अच्छी बनाई हुई है। मैं आपसे थोड़ी हल्की हल्की बात करूंगा आधा मिनट के लिए। कि सबसे पहली बात तो मैं करूंगा कि ओएनजीसी हमारी स्टालवर्ट कंपनी है, पीएसयूज के अंदर भी और नॉन पीएसयूज के अंदर भी, जो ऑयल की मार्केटिंग भी करती है, प्रोडक्शन भी करती है, गैस भी निकालती है, और बड़ों बड़ों की हवा भी खराब कर देती है। तो ऐसी ओएनजीसी के लिए मुझे एक ही बात कहनी है, ये समय आ गया है जब आप ओएनजीसी विदेश का मोनेटाइजेशन करें, ताकि शेयर होल्डर्स की वैल्यू बढ़े और कंपनी को भी फायदा हो। मैं ऐसा नहीं चाहूंगा आपसे अनरिजनेबली कि आप आज की एजीएम में ही इस पर मुझे ऑन द स्पॉट को जवाब दे पाए। मैं चाहूंगा आप अपनी बोर्ड मीटिंग में डिस्कस करें, लेकिन एश्योरेंस जरूर चाहूंगा कि आप मुझे आज, क्योंकि आपकी हमारी मुलाकात एक ही बार होती है साल में, और स्पेशली मुझे पता चला कि आपने वो पेंडेमिक के दौरान कर्मचारियों का पूरा ध्यान रखा है। ये उम्मीद भी करता हूं, और हमारी जैसी कंपनी से ये जरूरी भी है कि आप उनका ध्यान रखें। बाकी मैं आपसे सुनना चाहूंगा कि क्या मैं ठीक बोल रहा हूं कि कर्मचारियों का पूरा ध्यान रखा गया है, और जिनकी कोई बीमारी हुई है या कोई डेथ हुई है उनको हमने पूरा कंपनसेशन दिया है। पीएम केयर फंड में आपने जो फंड दिया है, डोनेशन दिया है, 3 चीयर्स टू यू। रियली ये होते हैं काम, एक्शन स्पीक्स बेटर देन वर्ड्स। मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा कि ओएनजीसी जितना बड़ी कंपनी है उतना बड़ा दिल भी रखती है। ये हमारे शेयर होल्डर्स के लिए भी बहुत अच्छी बात है कि हमारी कंपनी उन अनफॉर्चुनेट लोगों के लिए डोनेट करे, हेल्प करे, जो इस दुनिया में नहीं रहे हैं या किसी कारण से परेशान है। ये बहुत ही खुशी की बात है। अब मैं आता हूं थोड़ी सी अपनी सब्सिडीज की तरफ। मैं कहूँगा थोड़े सब्सिडीज को भी आप एफिशिएंटली मैनेज करवाएं, ताकि ओएनजीसी का अपना कॉर्पोरेट वैल्यू बढ़ सके। और कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस के आपने जो यहाँ आयाम बनाए हैं, नए स्टैंडर्ड बनाए हैं, मैं उम्मीद करता हूँ कि आने वाले वर्षों में आप उन्हें मेंटेन करेंगे। स्मॉल शेयर होल्डर्स का ध्यान रखना इतनी बड़ी कंपनी के लिए ये हमारे लिए फख्र की बात है। तो मैं एक सी बात आपको बताऊंगा, एक हमारे जो छोटे शेयर होते हैं उनके शेयर चले जाते हैं आईईपीएफ में, और वहां से उनको निकलवाना बहुत मुश्किल होता है। मेरी आपको ये गुजारिश रहेगी इनफॉर्मल लेवल पर कि हमारा इतना बड़ा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, क्या हम अपने सिस्टम के थ्रू ऐसा कुछ ना कर सके प्रिवेंटिव एक्शन कि वहां तक जाए ना शेयर, और शेयर होल्डर से हम बराबर कांटेक्ट बना के रखें। हालांकि पिछले 1.5 साल में तो मैंने देखा है कि आपका सेक्रेटरी सिस्टम बहुत अच्छा बना है, शेयर होल्डर से जो कॉर्पोरेट कम्युनिकेशन है वो बहुत ही सुंदर है। टाइम पर आपकी एजीएम की रिपोर्ट, एनुअल रिपोर्ट, कनेक्टिविटी, हमें ई वोटिंग की सुविधा देना, ये निश्चित रूप से फिजिकल मीटिंग के अंदर की सुविधा नहीं होती है जितनी आपकी वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंस के थ्रू मैं आपसे जुड़ पाया हूं। और मैं उम्मीद करता हूं कि आपने जो आयाम अभी स्थापित किए हैं 137, नेक्स्ट टाइम जब आपसे मिले तो ये 500 रुपीज होगा, क्योंकि ऑयल सेक्टर के अंदर बहुत उछाल है, बहुत तरक्की है। आज जब मैं आपसे बात कर रहा हूँ 77 का रेट है डॉलर। तो मैं उम्मीद करता हूं कि आने वाले अगले एजीएम में जब आपसे तो ये 500 रुपीज होगा, और मैं समझता हूँ सब्सिडीज से भी हम अच्छा पैसा प्राप्त कर सकेंगे, ऐसी मेरी उम्मीद है। और अंत में मैं कंपनी सेक्रेटरी रजनीकांत जी का, शशि भूषण जी का और आपके पूरे स्टाफ का, स्पेशली बोर्ड का मैं धन्यवाद करूंगा कि आपने हम जैसे लास्ट माइल शेयर होल्डर्स की सुविधा के लिए अपनी कंपनी में अच्छी फैसिलिटी क्रिएट की, जिससे कि हम आपसे जुड़ सके। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
तुलसियान जी धन्यवाद। और मैं, क्योंकि आपने बताया आप हॉस्पिटल में हैं, तो मैं कामना करता हूं कि आप स्वस्थ रहें और आप बिल्कुल ठीक रहें और अगले साल भी इसी तरह आपकी पार्टिसिपेशन रहे। सो थैंक यू वेरी मच।
सर, अपने नेक्स्ट स्पीकर हैं मिस्टर अजय जैन। Mr. Jain, you are unmuted. Mr. Jain, you are unmuted. Please unmute at your end. We are facing difficulty in connecting to Mr. Jain. Moving to the next speaker, Mr. V.K. Gupta. Mr. Gupta is also not available. Moving to next speaker, Mr. Ajay Kumar Jain. Sir, you are unmuted.
हाँ, नमस्कार सर, मैं दिल्ली से अजय कुमार जैन कंपनी का शेयर होल्डर बोल रहा हूँ। और सर, मैं कंपनी के अध्यक्ष जी की जो स्पीच थी उससे काफी प्रभावित हुआ। सर, कंपनी के जो चेयरमैन साहब का धैर्य था शेयर होल्डर के प्रश्नों का उत्तर देने में और सुनने में, उससे मेरे को बहुत ज्यादा प्रभाव डाला सर। और दो ही बात मैं उनसे कहना चाहूंगा, सवाल करने वाले तो बहुत मिलते हैं, लेकिन बिना सवाल किए हर शेयर होल्डर का ध्यान रखने वाले हमारे अध्यक्ष जी मिलते हैं। और सर, कंपनी का भविष्य आपके हाथ में बहुत सुरक्षित है। जब हम अगली एजीएम में मिलेंगे तो हमारा शेयर प्राइस 3 अंकों की मैक्सिमम संख्या में होगा। सर, हमारे जो सीएस और उनके जो साथी हैं वो हमारा पूरा सहयोग रखते हैं और ध्यान रखते हैं, वो ये उसके लिए धन्यवाद। नमस्कार, जय हिंद।
धन्यवाद।
Thank you, sir. Next speaker is Mr. Santosh Kumar Saraf. Mr. Santosh Kumar Saraf.
हेलो
जी सर,
मेरी आवाज आ रही है सर?
बिल्कुल आपकी आवाज आ रही है।
माननीय अध्यक्ष जी उपस्थित, माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, उपस्थित निदेशक सदस्यगण और मेरे शेयर भाइयों बहनों, मेरा नाम संतोष कुमार साहब। सर्वप्रथम आप सभी को नमस्कार। आशा करता हूँ आप जितने हमारे डायरेक्टर हैं, जितने भी अधिकारीगण हैं, वह और उनके परिवार स्वस्थ और सुरक्षित होंगे। सर, मैं उन भाइयों के लिए अपनी संवेदना प्रकट करना चाहता हूँ जो हमें कोविड में छोड़ के चले गए। भगवान से प्रार्थना करता हूँ भगवान उनको लंबी उम्र प्रदान करे। सर, हाँ जी नमस्कार, मैं नमस्कार करता हूँ सर, और आप लोग की स्वास्थ्य की कामना करता हूँ और भगवान से प्रार्थना करता हूँ आपके लिए। 1 मिनट सर है। और सर, मैं उन भाइयों और बहनों की अपनी संवेदना प्रकट करता हूँ जो कोविड हमको छोड़ के चले। भगवान उनके आत्मा को शांति प्रदान करे, उन्हें हिम्मत दे। और सर, हेलो,
हाँ आपकी आवाज आ रही है।
हाँ 1 मिनट सर, 1 मिनट, हाँ 1 मिनट, हेलो 1 मिनट सर, हेलो, हाँ माननीय अध्यक्ष जी एवं माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, उपस्थित सदस्यगण और मेरे सैलर भाइयों बहनों, मेरा नाम संतोष कुमार साहब, मैं कड़ता से बोल रहा हूँ सर। आप सभी को मेरा नमस्कार। आशा करता हूँ आप सब स्वस्थ होंगे सर, और उन भाइयों के लिए अपनी संवेदना प्रकट करता हूँ जो इस कोविड में छोड़ के चले गए सर। अपना सर कैपेक्स प्लान क्या है इसके बारे में बताने का कष्ट करिएगा सर। रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग के लिए क्या कदम ये बताइएगा सर, और सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक का कम से कम यूज हो इसके बारे में क्या कदम हो ये भी बताने का कष्ट करिएगा सर। और सर, वुमेन को ज्यादा से ज्यादा जॉब दिया जाए इसके लिए भी कदम उठाने के लिए क्या करें उठाए सर। मैं अपने कंपनी सेक्रेटरी को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूँ, उन्होंने हमारे शहर से छोटे इन्वेस्टर का ध्यान रखा, उसके लिए धन्यवाद। और भगवान से प्रार्थना करता हूँ उनकी लंबी उम्र हो सर। और ज्यादा कुछ नहीं सर, एक आपके कितने % एम्प्लॉय का वैक्सीन हुआ ये भी बताने का कष्ट करिएगा। और ज्यादा समय न लेते हुए आपसे प्रार्थना करता हूँ इसी तरह वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंस मीटिंग चालू रखिए, और फिजिकल मीटिंग और वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंस मीटिंग में कितने पैसे का बचत हुआ ये भी बताने का कष्ट करेंगे सर। और ज्यादा क्या कहूँ, आप लोग का काम इतना अच्छा है उसकी कह नहीं सकता, इसलिए आपकी लंबी उम्र की कामना करते हुए अपना वक्तव्य समाप्त करता हूँ। जय हिंद, जय भारत, नमस्कार,
धन्यवाद।
Thank you, sir. Next speaker is Mr. Hiranand Kotwani. Mr. Kotwani is not available. Next speaker is Mr. Yunus Rangawala.
Yes, sir. Can you hear my voice?
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, sir. Sir, first I will thanks our dynamic secretary. सर देखो आज उनके हिसाब से मैं आपसे ज्वाइन कर सकता हूँ सर। आज करीबन 25 मीटिंग है सर, और ओएनजीसी का जब नाम आया तो दिल में धक धक होने लगा, और आपके सर याद आई, इसके लिए सब मीटिंग छोड़ के सर आपको 2 शब्द बोलने हुआ आया। सर आपका मेहसाना में आई स्टेट गुजरात, सर अपना मेहसाना में कितने लोग काम करते हैं? अराउंड टोटल हाउ मेनी पीपल आर वर्किंग इन मेहसाना? पनवेल में जो अपना ड्रिलिंग है उसमें टोटल कितने स्टाफ है सर? और अपना जो मेहसाना भी है और अपना और इंडिया में अपना ड्रिलिंग है सर। आई एम वेरी हैप्पी विद आवर ओएनजीसी। टोटल अपने पास कितना स्टाफ है सर? अगर हो सके सर मुझे आपका एक छोटा सा वीडियो मेरे मोबाइल पे भेजिए तो मैं आपका पूरा देख सकता हूँ ड्रिलिंग है। फैक्ट्री विजिट तो नॉट पॉसिबल, अगर हो सकेगा आपका बॉम्बे में, आपका यहाँ पे बांद्रा में आपका रजिस्टर ऑफिस है सर, वहाँ पे कभी ऐसा कुछ गेट टुगेदर होएगा, कुछ प्रोग्राम रहेगा तो आप हमें बुलाइए सर। आपका ऐसा तो कंपनी दिल्ली है, अगर बॉम्बे में कुछ गेट टुगेदर होएगा तो मेरा हम्बल रिक्वेस्ट है आप समय हमें बुलाइए। और आपके शहर डिपार्टमेंट के जो सेक्रेटरी अपने विमल सर, उनको साहब मैं बहुत धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ, और उनकी टीम हार्ड वर्किंग, और उनकी आज इतना अच्छा सर आपने डिविडेंड भी दिया, और आज आपने हमको बोलने का मौका दिया सर। एचपीसीएल में भी अपना भागीदारी है, वी आर पार्टनर इन एचपीसीएल सर। एचपीसीएल में होने से अपनी कंपनी का सर प्रॉफिट भी अच्छा रहेगा, और दोनों गवर्नमेंट कंपनी एक दूसरे में है, तो डेट शोज हाउ ईच अदर वी आर फेसिंग सर, वी आर हैविंग अ प्रॉपर सपोर्ट सर। आई सपोर्ट ऑल द रेजुलेशन एंड आई विश आवर कंपनी सर आने वाले गणेश, आने वाले दशहरा दिवाली सब का सर मैं आपको सब मैं देता हूँ, शुभकामना देता हूँ। और सर मैं अपने सेक्रेटरी टीम को सर जितना भी धन्यवाद दूँ उतना मेरा कम है सर। हो सके तो सर मुझे बॉम्बे में सर आपका बांद्रा में आपका ऑफिस है, वहाँ पे भी आपके कितने स्टाफ बैठते हैं बांद्रा में टोटल सर वो जानना चाहता हूँ। बांद्रा में अपने बांद्रा स्टेशन पे जाकर आपका बड़ा टावर है सर, 2 टावर है, वहाँ पे टोटल स्टाफ कितना काम करता है सर ये आप मेरे को बताइए। वो तो मुझे कुछ नहीं पूछना है। थैंक यू वेरी मच, थैंक्स वेरी मच सर, हैव अ गुड डे सर, नथिंग मोर टू इट। जय हिंद सर, जय हिंद,
धन्यवाद।
Thank you, sir. Next available speaker is Mr. Atal Bihari Agrawal.
Hello.
Yes, sir. You are
Hello?
audible, sir. Yes, sir. You
हाँ,
are
मेरी
audible,
आवाज आ
sir.
रही है?
जी, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. I am Atal Bihari Agarwal from Jaipur. I really feel to be proud shareholder of this esteemed company, and it has been a long journey, and really congratulate the management under the leadership of Sri Subhash Agarwal ji and Madam Alka Mittal ji to perform the best out of this turbulent phase. मैं सर आपको एक ये भी इसके लिए भी बधाई देना चाहूंगा कि आज अपनी कंपनी का शेयर ने 52 वीक हाई बनाया है। ये भी एक बहुत गर्व का विषय है। मेरा सोचना ऐसा है जैसे अपनी कंपनी की सब्सिडरी हिंदुस्तान पेट्रोलियम है, उसने अभी शेयर्स का बाईबैक किया, उसके कारण अपनी हिंदुस्तान पेट्रोलियम कॉर्पोरेशन का वैल्यूएशन में वृद्धि हुई, उसका अल्टीमेट इफेक्ट अपने को ओएनजीसी में मिला। इसी तरह का कुछ और भी करें जिससे कि अपनी कंपनी को कुछ फायदा हो पाए। मैं कहना चाहूंगा अपनी कंपनी के सेक्रेटरी स्टाफ के लिए बहुत कोऑपरेटिव, बहुत अच्छे लोग हैं। इसके मुकाबले पहले आपके जो सेक्रेटरी थे उनके मुकाबले बहुत अच्छी परफॉर्मेंस है, अच्छा कोऑपरेशन मिलता है इनसे। जब भी कभी बात करो तो सब तरह से मेरा इनका कहना है कि बहुत अच्छी आपकी टीम है। उसके लिए मैं आप सेक्रेटरी डिपार्टमेंट को बधाई देना चाहूंगा। और सर मैं थोड़ा सा शेयर अपने डिविडेंड के बारे में बात करना चाहता था। अपना सर अभी परफॉर्मेंस अच्छा आ रहा है तो कोई स्पेशल डिविडेंड की भी कामना हम कर सकते हैं क्या, उसके बारे में थोड़ा बताएं। और कोई बोनस इश्यू के बारे में भी मैनेजमेंट का क्या रुख है, थोड़ा ये भी एक्सप्लेन करें। यही कहकर मैं अपनी बात खत्म करता हूं। धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू, धन्यवाद।
ओके
सर, now Mr. Ajay Jain is available with us. Mr. Ajay Jain, please. Mr. Ajay Jain. Mr. Jain, please accept the request. Please unmute yourself. Mr. Ajay Jain. Sir, please unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon to you, Chairman sir, and all esteemed members of the board. I am Ajay Jain from Delhi. My DP number is IN 301549, client ID 15049876. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to express my views and attend through VC. At the outset, my compliment for sending the email of notice and annual report well in time. It is seen that the performance of ONGC and all directors are very committed and involved with ONGC staff in the growth of the company. And we are very proud and happy with ONGC being awarded the Silver Coach Award and Dr. Alka Mittal, Director HR, being recognized and awarded as Woman of the Year Silver Steve View Award. I congratulate Mr. Rajnikant on his joining as Company Secretary of ONGC and can see that he is discharging his duties with great passion and diligence. I wish to place on record appreciation for the sincere efforts of the committed secretarial team and Mr. Shashi Bhuchan, Deputy Company Secretary, for being available during pandemic, as once I called him during the lockdown period and he promptly provided the requisite information. Sir, my query is, how you foresee the pact in the next quarters with recovery of global prices, and do you propose to come out with special dividend? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, available speaker is Mr. Santosh Chopra. Mr. Santosh
Hello.
Chopra, please. Yes, sir.
Yes, please. Are you able to hear me, sir?
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
First of all, I appreciate the management, especially the company secretary department, for making smart view of company website and annual report, which I have received physically at my Ghaziabad address. On balance sheet, my queries are as follows. It is reported that the company's performance was affected adversely due to COVID epidemic that was in line with other sectors. However, there is increase in borrowings and capex has declined, which needs clarification. The company has a low return on equity of 9.79% for last 3 years. The contingent liability of rupees 71,000 crore. Company might be capitalizing the interest cost. Promoters holding has decreased over last 3 years to 7%. However, I appreciate the company's contribution of 3,000 million to PM Care Fund and which undertook CSR projects worth almost 300 million, thereby benefiting over 44 lakh people across the country during financial year 21. However, the company should also think of its senior citizen shareholders like us, for whom the FD interest rates have declined to 5 to 6%, whereas our bread and butter was only through these investment channels, including investment in PSU shares, like US company. Sir, what is your whistleblower policy, as there are reportedly leakages as per buzz in the market? I also bring to your corporate governance system, as reported by one previous speaker, Mr. Majumdar, on holding the audit subcommittee, etc. I request you to clarify these points. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah, thanks for your inputs and information. We'll respond to it. Thank you.
Next available speaker is Mr. Manos Kumar Gupta. Sir, please unmute yourself, sir.
तो म्यूट कर लिया.
जी.
गुप्ता जी बोलिए.
हेलो, कैन यू हियर मी सर?
या आप सुनाई दे रहे हैं, बोलिए.
Good afternoon, respected Chairman, Board of Directors, fellow shareholders. My name is Manoj Kumar Gupta. I am equity shareholder of ONGC Limited. And sir, first of all, I thanks to you, your team, for the good result in this epidemic COVID-19 and a good dividend of 72% this epidemic COVID-19 time. And I thanks to your company secretary and his team for excellent services to the small investors like me and who always help us to join the meeting through VC. This is good culture in the ONGC that they keeps in touch with the investors after get their request for registration. Just now I have got a call from your CR department that Mr. Gupta joined the meeting. Your turn will come very soon. So this is good performance and the services by your secretarial department, and such type of people should be in the corporate sector. And sir, CSR, I will not say single dividend is good. Sir, what is your future plan with CapEx? And sir, what's your future plan for Hindustan Petroleum and MRPL, Mangalore Refinery? And sir, last, I will not go through because Mr. Tamal has already covered several questions. I believe that you will respond his questions. So I will not say on accounts, but sir, you should sponsor one sports activity from the CSR, either a women's hockey team or appoint one brand ambassador of ONGC. From the our country has got several medals in the Olympic and Para-Olympic. So you should consider to bring one Olympian as a brand ambassador and help the sports activity or sports persons to inspire them for their future, that nation should get more medals in coming time. Thank you, sir.
Dhanyavad. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, Mr. Praveen Kumar Gupta is back with us. Please, Mr. Praveen Kumar Gupta. Mr. Gupta, please unmute yourself. Mr. Gupta, please unmute yourself. Mr. Gupta, please. Now, we are making last effort to connect Mr. Gupta. With this, all the speakers, available speakers are done. Mr. Gupta, your audio is not connected. Please unmute yourself. Now all the speakers, available speakers are done, sir. Thank you, sir.
So, if there are no further questions, first of all, let me thank all the shareholders who have taken time out of their very, very busy schedule. These are difficult times for each one of you, each one of us, for the nation and for the humanity. Notwithstanding that, you have shown your conviction and were at this meeting. We greatly appreciate that, and I, on my personal behalf and on behalf of the entire board, put on record our heartfelt appreciation for the same. We greatly value the relationship. In fact, let me say it at the beginning, the technology through which it is possible for us to meet has been one of the discoveries of the times we are facing. However, there is also no replacement for meeting in person. I only believe that times change, normalcy returns, and there is soon a scenario where we could continue meeting both in physical mode, and those who are not able to make it to the physical meetings could continue to be connected through virtual world. So with that expectation, let me try to go into the points raised by each of the shareholders. I must say and compliment our shareholders for the kind of analysis they have done. I have myself attended number of AGMs, but the kind of analysis, the kind of questions, the kind of support you have expressed for the management, despite asking very pinpointed questions, is probably unprecedented. So not only company is unique, I must say our shareholders also are unique, and for that you deserve all the compliments. Now I'll try to go into the points raised by each of the shareholder. I might, number one, I'll have two things to say. One is there are certain common questions. Probably I will not repeat against each of the speaker. And if on matter of detail, if still some information is found lacking in my question, which might be very, very specific, I'll request Company Secretary Office, you can reach them, and if there are some specific details, those will also be provided. With that, our first speaker was our colleague from GAIL, Mr. Vikas Agarwal, and he conveyed appreciation and best wishes on behalf of CMD GAIL. I am greatly thankful for my colleague from oil sector for having expressed his best wishes, and it is actually the collective working in the entire oil sector and energy sector that we have been able to see that entire value chain of energy continued flowing when the whole world was standstill. So I think that his wishes are extremely valuable to us. He has appreciated the performance of ONGC despite the pandemic. Thanks for that. And I must say, all of our sister organizations in public sector have more or less faced the similar circumstances. We derive inspiration and guidance from each one of our colleagues in the sector. Madam Patel had a very detailed set of questions, and I must compliment her for a thorough reading and analysis of our annual report. We feel very enlightened when our shareholders go into the annual report and ask us the questions. We value the knowledge shareholders who help us improve on a year-to-year basis. First of all, I echo her sentiments and once again convey compliments to Madam Alka Mittal, Dr. Alka Mittal, whom she specifically congratulated. And Madam Patel, thanks for that. ONGC values the diversity at the board. Secondly, your appreciation for CS team and corporate governance in general. I think it is our constant effort. Thanks for appreciating the changes we have made, and I can commit that we are set on a journey where improvement is a continuous process. Our contribution to PM Care Fund has been appreciated by quite a few speakers. We are a responsible corporate, and when the country has required, we have stood by the people, whether these are the issues, this was the issue relating to pandemic, or there were floods, or there were any other disruptions. The company has stood with the nation and the manpower and our citizenships to see that problems are solved. There were a couple of questions regarding IGX, the shareholding. This is a very strategic shareholding which we have taken. Any company who is operating in the sector is allowed to take up to 5% of equity, and we have done that. There was also a question, not necessarily from Madam Patel, but there was a question on the ONGC gas company also, few questions. I think taken together, our participation at IGX as well as ONGC gas, what we intend to do, that gas is going to be the fuel during the transition period. I am sure all of you are aware there is a huge energy transition going on, and in this process, definitely gas has the brightest future of all the fossil fuels. And in this process, it's a forward-looking step by the management, which so far has been largely restricted to upstream, to move beyond and go into the gas business as an anticipation and build a still stronger business context. And in this regard, Also, I may point out that we have taken shareholding in overseas in number of projects where gas projects are there. So all of this is going to define a stronger business context for the company. As far as there was a question where the hospital is, so the said hospital is at Sipsagar in Assam, where ONGC has its operations nearly right from inception from 1958-59 onwards. Number of employees, this is a question which again came from a couple of shareholders. We have around 28,000 employees. There has been a reduction in number of employees. One is that, of course, technology has enabled us to do still the same amount of work with even lesser number of employees. And secondly, also, I think, is also that we could not complete the induction process for 2020. So now we have already taken steps to induct against 2020 batch, and soon we will be taking action for induction against 2021. Over the years, the effort of management has been to change the age mix, and over the last 5 years, the company has been able to do two critical things in respect of manpower. One is that the average age of ONGC has come down significantly, and also we are aspiring and have already built adequate manpower and pipeline at the top level, such that we can really feed the positions at the topmost board level. As far as HPCL is concerned, and I think there was a question again by a couple of shareholders on this. So it is with relation to HPCL and as well as with other companies where we also have shareholding or subsidiaries. I must say that difficult times actually are really the test of the strength of your business model. In fact, our consolidated profit during the last year was slightly in excess of 21,000 crore, and our standalone profit was only 11,000 crores or so. Actually, this demonstrates that whatever integration efforts and we have through which we hold the shareholdings in other undertakings has started paying the dividend, and when going was not all that good at the upstream level, actually the functioning of our sister organizations, our subsidiaries, our joint ventures in other related areas of business has helped still to take it to a high level. Practically nearly slightly less than 50% profit came from our non-upstream operations, which is a matter of pride and which actually establishes that we should continue our efforts in downstream integration to become a truly vertically integrated and diversified business group on which the journey has already begun. As far as prices are concerned, there was a question. I think pump head prices are not really related directly to the prices of crude and gas, crude which ONGC produces. However, it's a matter of fact that during year 2021, the average oil price which we realized was $42 per barrel, around 42. And now the oil price today, if I see, it is around 72 to 73. So obviously, as oil is an input, beside other taxes and levies, that's a major driver. That could also be one of the reasons for increase in the price at the pump head, though this is not the major contributor. I think as far as recruitment is concerned, we take people from all over India, and everybody is entitled and free to apply. In fact, this is a good opportunity since this question is raised here. I must let everybody know, and through that you may let anybody know that our process for induction against 2020 and as well as against 2021 is going to be operational very soon. 2020 advertisement is already out, and 2021 should be coming in another 10 days or so. Mr. Majumdar, so thanks, Madam Patel, for that. Mr. Majumdar, I must compliment for a very, very detailed analysis. And year after year, I have heard him different AGMs, and each time enlightening the fellow shareholders as well as asking some searching questions to the managements. Compliments for that, and these searching questions also help us prepare better. So thank you for that. I think you had very specific pinpointed questions about the shareholdings of IOCL and the cross-shareholding, IOC holding share in ONGC and ONGC shareholding, holding shares in IOC, and also LIC, IOCL and GAIL collectively holding substantial number of shares in ONGC. So one, as far as public sector, oil sector entities was concerned, this was part of the policy at a relevant point in time, where oil sector entities were holding shares in each other. So cross-holding is out of that. And as far as LIC is concerned, I trust it's a autonomous business decision by them, where they have opted to hold the shares. But we are thankful to all the shareholders who have reposed confidence in us, including the institutional shareholders. As far as your concern and concern of few of shareholders on the corporate governance from the perspective of not having adequate number of independent directors is concerned, we are ourselves extremely concerned about this issue. We value the presence of independent directors. In fact, they are the one who bring another perspective whenever the discussions take place. So their presence at the board actually brings certain amount of reassurance, also helps make the discussions richer, and at times they also help you look at options which probably being too much mired in details you do not see. So we value their presence. We have been constantly taking up with the government, and I believe that government is taking action to appoint adequate number of independent directors, where at least as far as compliances for constitution of committees we will not be non-compliant on those. So thanks for raising this issue, and on this front we have been constantly taking up, and probably soon we will have independent directors. I hope the concerned agencies take the action. I also believe some of the subsidiaries being in government sector also have similar problem, but hope that they will also have independent directors soon. As far as Vivad se Vishwas, there was a reference to Vivad se Vishwas. Again, thanks for your very searching question. You have done thorough analysis. So we actually, ONGC follows a conservative accounting policy, and tends to be deposit the tax even in certain cases where chances are, it's not really that we still believe that we have a fighting case, yet if the liability comes all of a sudden and it is too high, that may have capacity to derail the functioning or the profitability of a company in a given year. So consequently, we have taken a safe and conservative process as far as accounting is concerned. On merits, we are very clear that ONGC has a winning case for the matters which we are carrying in this list, and we believe that we will win in all the cases. We have an excellent track record as far as the settlement of these cases is concerned, and we believe that we are more on the winning side rather than on the losing side. So I can assure you that whatever cases we are still carrying, they have the entire decision is after thorough review. In fact, we had very detailed discussion even at the board level, and there is merit in it. So I talked about subsidiary. I think as far as OBL production is concerned, the cut is largely attributed to OPEC plus cut, which was decided by the group on the whole. It is still continuing for the part of year, but some relaxations, as you would have read from the press, are taking place on a monthly basis and will continue to, there will be certain relaxation over the coming months. We are mindful that our book value is significantly higher than the market price and believe that this anomaly should soon be addressed. Actually, this issue might have to do with it has become a bit of sectoral issue, so oil and gas sector globally, and also the PSUs are, quite a few PSUs could be trading below the book value. But for us, we take the clue and it's a matter of concern. So as far as OTPC is concerned, OTPC had certain problems. Both the units are now working very well and have achieved their production capacity during the year, and I hope they had actually mandatory shutdown in early this year, and from then onwards everything will be smooth. So I hope I have answered all the questions. Going to Mr. Tulsian. Thanks for a few of the compliments. You did inform that you are participating from hospital. I think hats off to your commitment. That's one comment, and we wish you all the very best. As far as OBL monetization is concerned, matters of this strategic nature are constantly considered and reconsidered, and at an appropriate time the decision on this will be taken. We have, thanks for complimenting on care of employees during the COVID. So that part, we value our employees' contribution during this difficult period, and we will continue to take care. As far as subsidiary management is concerned, I am sure you would have witnessed, and in my speech also I covered that joint ventures and subsidiaries have started doing better. As far as MRPL is concerned, because of very low global GRM, actually it again was in red this year. Hopefully the thing should, the situation should improve, because normally these things move in cycle. You wished or expected that ONGC share can touch 500. I'll have no comment on that. Next, Mr. Shivam Bajaj, very quick, very professional, couple of questions. So in terms of oil bonds, only a small amount, that is rupees 197 crore is outstanding as far as ONGC is concerned. So since it's carrying good interest rates, so we are still holding them. ONGC has a very, very strong business model. Even at the time when we acquired a stake in any of the companies, including when we took it in HPCL stake, we never had a shortage of resources. So for the right set of targets and business propositions, we have capacity to source the fund. So that's not a constant. As regards bonus and all, those decisions are taken by the board as per the merits at a given point in time. इसके बाद गुप्ता जी ने कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस के बारे में बात की. सो उनका धन्यवाद कि उन्होंने हमें इस बार मामले में अप्रिशिएट किया, और मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि हमारा ये प्रयास रहेगा कि हम अपने कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस स्टैंडर्ड को फर्दर इम्प्रूव करते रहें. जहाँ तक IGX की बात है, वो मैंने बता दिया कि ये एक स्ट्रेटजिक होल्डिंग है, और ये एक सिग्नल है कि क्योंकि आने वाले समय में हम, ऐसा प्रतीत होता है कि गैस जो है वो मेजर फॉसिल फ्यूल होगा जिसमें बिजनेस एक्सपेंड करेगा, तो हम ये अर्ली पोजीशन ले रहे हैं, और लंबे समय के दौरान it is expected that it will fetch maximum value for us. उसके बाद अशित कुमार पाठक जी ने, I think it was a touching sentiment from him, expressing solidarity with the company for the COVID victims, as well as what happened in cyclone Tauktae, I think जो इन दो इंसिडेंट्स के घाव हैं वो पूरी तरह भरे नहीं हैं और आपकी संवेदना जो है we really appreciate, we salute and pay our condolences to all who are not among us because of either of these tragedies or any other reason. जहाँ तक प्रोडक्शन का बात है, yes, last year production was lower than the previous year, but one of the reasons was the pandemic, and consequently the movement was just not about possible. And if in my speech also I had talked about Operation Nishtha, where when the country and the world was standstill, we still could move the manpower and continue the operations. Those were extremely difficult times. In fact, the legal and law and order regime differed even from block to block, what to talk of state to state. So during those difficult times, our fellow NGCians have braved the different challenges and were still in the field. I compliment. It was a hugely challenging task to continue the production and operations under those times, and nobody knew exactly what one was dealing with. So I think one of the reason is that, and I'm sure after some initial effect which still continues because COVID is still around, so we will have, you will see resurgence in production. जहाँ तक अशोक नगर की बात है, beginning has been made, and probably it will be the record time in which any basin, new basin has been put on production map. So category 3 से category 1 में लाने में शायद दुनिया में सबसे कम समय इसी basin के लिए लगा है, which shows the commitment and sincerity with which we are pursuing the exploratory efforts, and not only finding oil but being able to bring it to the surface to generate value for the shareholders and help alleviate the import dependence of the country remain our top targets. जहाँ तक long term blueprint 2040 की बात है, इसमें कंपनी के मुख्यतः दो ऑब्जेक्टिव हैं. एक तो ये है कि ऑयल एंड गैस में हम हैं और उसमें अपनी प्रेजेंस को फर्दर स्ट्रेंथन करें. तो उसमें जो प्रोडक्शन लेवल है oil or gas ka, both domestically as well as from overseas, we intend to increase, but also simultaneously we are mindful of the changes taking place globally and the energy transition which is happening. It is here and now. So from that perspective, we also have aspirations to have presence and capacity of around 10 gigawatt in renewables. I believe that the figure at the end of, if one were to look back in 2040, maybe the figure will be larger. Now I move on to some questions from Ajay Jainji. So thanks for appreciating the performance during, especially during this difficult time. I think one thing I missed, there were a number of compliments and comments for very good work done by company secretary and deputy company secretary and the team. So I actually extend the same compliments and hand over those to the people to whom they belong. But I would also say that it takes many to organize an event like this also. So I compliment and acknowledge the contribution of all people who have helped us come to this level, and this we have come because of the contribution of each ONGCians and the guidance of all stakeholders. So I compliment them. I think जहाँ तक PAT next steps की बात है, तो हालांकि कोई भी प्रोजेक्शन करना सही नहीं होता है इस मामले में, पर first quarter is already a pointer towards where the performance is, and second quarter prices are holding good. I'm sure everybody is following the press and knows that as far as ultra low gas prices are concerned, they will be significantly better in the forthcoming quarter, starting from 1st of October. And when prices are better and production performance holds, or even if it is still a shade lower, then one can expect what kind of performance is concerned. There were general questions about the dividend. I think our colleagues, shareholders are aware of the general dividend policy of the company. Even in difficult times, when really, at one point in time oil prices were negative, we thought it was our bounden duty to still maintain dividend at around 40 plus percentage points, and 40 to 55 of what we earned on PAT basis, we deliver back to the shareholders. It's an abiding commitment of the company that we will continue to do the same. There are certain situations when the distribution could be lower, and dividend policy of the company is on the web page of ONGC. So dividend we will continue to pay as per the dividend policy. Ajay Kumar Jain ji ka share price के बारे में था. I think share price has started looking up. और जहाँ तक मैनेजमेंट की बात है, स्टेक होल्डर्स की बात है, they can contribute a lot towards creating a context for business to grow. जहाँ तक share market dynamics की बात है, there could be other factors also influencing the same. However, I believe that the market will take notice of the performance, improving performance of the company. Santosh Kumar Saraf ji, one of the shareholders whom again I have met on a couple of occasions during the AGM. सदा की तरह उन्होंने महिलाओं की ज़्यादा भागीदारी के बारे में बात की. I think that's probably his mission. He follows and he tries to advocate. And I think having Dr. Alka Mittal on the board, which was the first of its kind for this company. Normally upstream companies have much lesser presence. And also during the last couple of years, the percentage of women employees in the company has increased. We are making our best efforts to make it safe and a wholesome place for women colleagues to work at different levels. In fact, very happy to note that over the past few months, whenever I have visited operations, I have seen women colleagues right in the fields. So that shows that's a signal of changing times, and I am sure soon we will have much better participation of women employees at different level in the organizations. जहाँ तक सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक वगैरह की बात है, रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग की बात है, कंपनी कमिटेड है इन चीज़ों को प्रमोट करने में. और इन एडिशन लेट मी टेल यू, मे बी ONGC इज द ओनली कंपनी which has its all files are on electronic mode. So right now there is hardly anything which is transacted on a piece of paper, and consequently probably we would be one of the greatest contributor to make this planet healthier in terms of replacing paper with the electronics. अटल बिहारी अग्रवाल जी ने HPCL शेयर बाईबैक के बारे में बताया कि बाईबैक के बाद जो शेयर का प्राइस लगभग 180 के इर्द गिर्द चल रहा था वो अब 260-250 के करीब है. So I think you are aware of the different policies of DP also. There are certain guidelines in this regard which will definitely follow. Your compliments to Secretariat are taken in the spirit in which you conveyed them, but we still believe that we will continue improving and we will be better and reach everybody. जहाँ तक स्पेशल डिविडेंड और बोनस की बात है वो मैंने रिप्लाई कर दी. संतोष चोपड़ा जी ने जहाँ तक बोरोइंग की बात है, एक्चुअली आपको याद होगा कि पिछले साल ऑयल एंड गैस प्राइसेस वर एट रिकॉर्ड लो लेवल एंड कंसिक्वेंटली there was definitely, if one were to continue sustaining the operations at more or less the same level, then there was a need to fund them. But we did not blink an eye, and the policy was very clear that we must continue growing, and in the process, if there is some additional funding is required from external sources, we'll take that. And there was marginal increase today with better oil and gas prices, we are in much better shape. And I'm sure you would have seen that in first quarter, our performance we have reduced debt to a significant extent, and probably by second quarter things will still be better. So it's not a matter of concern at all. Our debt equity ratio, even in the worst times, probably was 0.07 times, which is actually at an ultra low level, not on even on a moderate level. So we have significant capacity to raise the debt should there be any good business opportunity. Thanks for your appreciation for our contributing to PM CARES funds. Audit committee non-constitution is a matter of concern for us also, and I believe that we will be getting support from the government to have independent directors on the board soon. Manoj Kumar Gupta ji, thanks for your appreciation to ONGC. General performance, जहाँ तक कैपेक्स प्लान की बात है, last year despite COVID we were among the few companies which could continue the spend rate, and except for the specific projects which were affected because of COVID, more or less we operated as if it was business as usual, and we still ended up spending a bit more than 26,000 crore last year. Our target for this year also is anywhere from 29,000 to 32,000 crores. But this time, if there were good business opportunity, we have capacity, we would have capability to spend even higher. And for that, fund is not a constant. In a way, the good oil and gas prices are helpful in that. जहाँ तक MRPL की बात है, हमने already OMPL की 100% शेयर होल्डिंग जो है आज की डेट में MRPL के पास है, तो जो इंटीग्रेशन प्लान पहले अनाउंस हो रखी है उसके तहत we are building a single complex at Mangalore, and further follow-up steps with the HPCL for greater integration will be taken. आपने बहुत ही अच्छा सुझाव दिया है regarding sponsoring sports teams for CSR. We are doing a lot. Let me, it's a matter of pride. And I think as a fellow shareholder, you also must take a pride that 7 out of 121 strong contingent of which participated in Olympics this year were from ONGC. So 7 actually would have been much higher if we were to also include the scholarship players who participated in this event, and then the number would go in double digits, if I remember correctly. I must say that 2 ladies who finally participated and represented India in golf, both of them were ex-ONGC scholarship holders. So it's a matter of pride, and I am happy to convey that we continue to be one of the biggest contributors for promotion of sports and CSR in the country. But we take your suggestion and we'll further improve our presence in this arena. रंगवाला जी का क्वेश्चन था रिगार्डिंग लिटिल बिट ऑफ ब्रेकअप. सो आप 31 मार्च को हमारे टोटल एम्प्लॉइज का नंबर था 28,479, 28,479, और जिसका ब्रेकअप 17,719 वाज नंबर ऑफ ऑफिसर्स एंड स्टाफ 10,760. महसाना का आपने स्पेसिफिकली पूछा, तो वहाँ पे हमारे 1108 एम्प्लॉइज हैं, और ऑफशोर में लगभग 6,400 लोग हैं. पनवेल में आपने पूछा तो वहाँ पे 124 लोग हैं. और मैं ये बता दूं कि ये नंबर उनके हैं जो हमारे साथ डायरेक्ट जुड़े हुए हैं, जो हमारे एम्प्लॉई हैं. बट वी आर ऑल्सो थैंकफुल टू मैनी मोर पीपल who are connected with ONGC and still help us run our business through the third parties. There are people who are working through the contractors. There are people who are working from outsourcing agencies. So it is a time for us all to acknowledge the contribution of all in this regard. So with that, probably I have answered all the questions, but should there be anything you feel is not addressed, we will be very happy to receive those and address those. So kindly I'll encourage that you may continue asking questions.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Shri Amitava Bhattacharya, Independent Director, to propose the vote of thanks to the chairman and participants.
Thank you, Shri Rajnikant, our esteemed company secretary. Dear esteemed members of the company, my fellow Honorable CMD, my fellow directors on the board, and all others who have assembled today. It is my honor to propose a vote of thanks. And at the outset, I must thank the family of our esteemed member shareholders whose presence in such large number and just active participation, which is evidenced by our Honorable CMD giving such detailed replies, and their unstinted support has made this company reach such enviable heights. So I really thank the honorable the shareholders, our family members. My thanks are due to our esteemed and honorable CMD, whose deep knowledge not only about the financial sector, of which he was head, even I suppose even now, but his detailed knowledge about the entire oil and gas sector is a revelation to me, who is from the outside the sector. In fact, every time, every interaction with him in the board or even outside the board, it has benefited me immensely. And I can assure you it has benefited all our fellow directors also immensely, because this knowledge cannot be replicated. I wish him the many more years of his active involvement, engagement in this sector and the other sectors as well. My thanks are also due to my brother full-time directors on the board, whose tireless efforts, both on the board and in the day-to-day activities, have made companies achieve such great heights over the years. My sincerest thanks are also due to my two esteemed government nominees. One of them is joined through the, I think, video from Guwahati, or the other, unfortunately, may not be here today. But their unstinted support, industry-specific knowledge, and guidance have helped the company immensely. The last 2.5 years, I have seen how they have helped the company in their various activities, various initiatives. It is also my duty to appreciate the sincere efforts put in by the company secretary personally and his team, and in fact the entire our family members have appreciated their effort. But it is not only, as our honorable chairman has said, it is not only them, but the entire team. In the corporate headquarters, like the IT team, the corporate communication team, the logistics team. In fact, every single ONGC official is so dedicated, and because of their dedicated efforts and sincerity, today's the meeting passed off so smoothly. Not only this meeting, every single meeting of ONGC holds is conducted in such a smooth and effective manner. Their thanks to them. But finally, I shall be, as has been repeatedly mentioned by all the honorable shareholders, member shareholders, and the CMD Sahab also, that I shall be failing in my duty if I still, on my behalf and on behalf of the company, don't express our sincerest thanks, felicitations, and salute to the tireless efforts put in by our officers, men, surveyors, engineers spread all across India, offshore, on the land, out there in the sea, inside the boundaries of India, or even outside the country. They are our companies what because of them. And in that tireless, in that devastating time when the country was, then all of us were either inside the confines of our house, they were out there in the field, maintaining the supply line, and because of them what the company is and the country is safe. My sincerest, and this story of ONGC, I suppose it is not only a story for today, but it will be a story for our future ONGCians. They will remember the sacrifice, the tireless contribution of these brave men and women who did not let this devastating and sad pandemic to dampen our efforts Thank you. All the best. Jai Hind.
जैसा कि आप सब लोग जानते हैं कि पूरा देश राजभाषा हिंदी पखवाड़ा मना रहा है। ओएनजीसी में हम सभी राजभाषा हिंदी के प्रचार और प्रसार के भरपूर प्रयास कर रहे हैं। मैं आप सबको राजभाषा हिंदी पखवाड़े की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं भी देता हूं और आपका धन्यवाद करता हूं कि आपने इस फंक्शन में पार्टिसिपेट किया। अब क्योंकि नोटिस में प्रस्तावित सभी व्यावसायिक मदों पर चर्चा हो चुकी है, इसलिए मैं आज की इस बैठक को बंद घोषित करता हूं। Since all the business items as proposed in the notice are transacted, I declare the meeting closed. नमस्कार, जय हिंद। I think I left one item in the process. One is, of course, I take this opportunity to convey my gratitude to one and all, including Government of India and all the stakeholders of the company, my colleague directors and fellow employees of this esteemed organization. Dear members, the e-voting facility will remain open for another 15 minutes for those who have not cast the vote through e-voting. The results of e-voting would be announced not later than 2 working days from the conclusion of AGM. Since all the business items as proposed in the notice are transacted, I declare the meeting closed. Thank you very much.